Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because, well, you want to get smart, fast on topics that matter. And you've pointed us to some really interesting material on bringing meditation into a daily routine.
Exactly. And what we're hearing is you're not looking for like another huge task to add to your plate, something overwhelming.
No.
You want practical ways to,
Mhm.
weave in a bit of calm, a bit of focus amidst everything else going on.
Precisely. So for this deep dive, we've dug into an article from the Times of India. It's from February this year, and it features guidance from Archana Singhal, who founded Mindwell Council.
Hmm.
Our mission today, really distill the most useful, the real-world advice on making meditation actually doable, even if your day is totally packed.
Think of it as the fast track to figuring out how this can actually work for you.
Okay, so let's get into it. The article, it starts by laying out the why, right?
Yeah, the why. Why even think about adding meditation to a life that's already, pretty full?
Yeah.
What are the actual payoffs?
Good question. So what did the article highlight? What are the key reasons our listener might want to give this a shot?
Well, it points to 5 main areas. First one, and this probably hits home for most people, is stress reduction.
Oh, definitely.
It literally says taking time to meditate can help reduce stress levels. But it's more than just feeling a bit calmer right then.
Right.
Think of it like this. Doing it regularly can actually dial down your body's whole stress response system, lowering cortisol, shifting you out of that constant fight or flight feeling.
That makes so much sense. It's like giving your nervous system, a much-needed break in our always-on world.
Exactly. A breather.
Okay, what's the next big win?
Improved focus. So the article mentions regular meditation practice has been shown to enhance concentration and mental clarity. So it's not just about being less stressed, it's actively training your brain, making it, better paying attention through the day.
So you can actually concentrate on one thing instead of having your mind bounce all over the place.
Pretty much. Imagine really being able to lock on to a task, that kind of focus.
Wow, okay. That sounds like a bit of a superpower, actually. Does it mean more productivity then?
It can help with that, yeah, but it's broader too. The third benefit the article talks about is enhanced well-being.
Okay.
That's the meditation promotes a sense of overall well-being by fostering self-awareness, gratitude, and compassion.
Why?
So it's about building a richer inner life, really.
Right. Becoming more tuned into yourself, your feelings.
Yeah, and that kind of spills over into how you interact with others, with the world.
So it's not just fixing a negative, like stress, but building up something positive, but better foundation.
Per se.
What about more tangible benefits? Anything physical?
Oh yeah, a really big one. Better sleep. It explains practicing meditation before bedtime can help quiet the mind and promote better sleep quality.
Yes. Sleep. So crucial.
It really is. And we all know how foundational good sleep is. If you're wrestling with a racing mind at night, going over the day's events or tomorrow's list,
Ugh, yes. The worst.
meditation can be a real game changer there. Help settle things down.
Makes sense. Quieting the mental chatter. Okay, and the final key benefit mentioned.
Emotional resilience. The article puts it like this. Meditation helps build emotional resilience, allowing you to better cope with life's challenges and setbacks with a sense of calm and clarity.
So like developing a kind of mental shock absorber.
Sort of, yeah. A buffer.
Yeah.
So when things get tough, and they always do, right?
Right.
You're just better equipped to handle it, navigate those choppy waters without getting totally swamped.
Okay, wow. Those are some really compelling reasons. Stress, focus, well-being, sleep, resilience, especially for someone juggling a lot.
Definitely.
Now let's pivot to the how, the practical stuff, because I know that's what our listeners really after. How does the article suggest we actually start weaving this into a busy life? Where do you even begin?
Okay, the first piece of advice is just golden, I think, for anyone feeling stretched. It's simply start small.
Start small. Okay.
The article very wisely suggests begin with just a few minutes of meditation each day. Just a few minutes. And then you gradually increase it as you get comfortable.
Right. Not trying to run a marathon on day one.
Exactly. It's about building a habit that can actually last. Not going all in, feeling overwhelmed, and then just stopping.
That feels so much more manageable. A few minutes. Yeah, I think most people could find that somewhere. What's the next practical tip?
Setting the scene, basically. The article advises choose a quiet and comfortable space where you can sit or lie down without distractions.
Does it have to be perfect? Like a special meditation room?
Not at all. That's the key. It could just be a corner of your bedroom before anyone else is up, maybe your parked car during lunch break. Anywhere you can just minimize interruptions for those few minutes.
Yeah, minimizing distractions. That feels like half the battle sometimes. Okay, so you found your little quiet spot, then what?
Then you get to the core of it. Focus on your breath. It's explained simply. Close your eyes and focus on your breath, observing each inhale and exhale without judgment.
Without judgment. That sounds important.
It really is. Because your mind will wander. That's normal. The practice is just gently bringing your attention back to the breath again and again. It's your anchor.
Okay, an anchor.
Oh.
I like that. But what if your mind is just, constantly buzzing, like a browser with 50 tabs open?
Yes. The dizzy mind. Well, that's where the fourth strategy is super helpful. Use guided meditations.
Guided ones.
Right. The article recommends if you're new to meditation, consider using guided meditation apps or recordings. These can be fantastic, especially at the start.
Why is that?
Because someone else is, leading the way.
Yeah.
They provide the structure, the instructions. It
Yeah.
takes away that pressure of, am I doing this right? What am I supposed to be thinking?
Yeah, that makes sense. Takes the guesswork out. And there are tons of apps for that now.
So many options, which is great.
Okay. And the final piece of practical advice from the article, the fifth strategy.
This one's crucial for actually making it stick long term. Be consistent.
Consistency.
Currency. Okay. It really emphasizes making meditation a regular part of your daily routine, setting aside that dedicated time each day. Maybe morning, maybe lunch, maybe before bed, whatever works.
So it's less about how long you do it each time and more about doing it regularly.
Absolutely. Short, consistent sessions are way more effective for building the habit and retraining your brain than, say, one long session once a week. It's the repetition that counts.
Okay, got it. So just to recap the how. Start small, find a quiet-ish spot, focus on the breath, try guided meditations if you like, and be consistent.
That's the core of it, yeah.
Now, looking at these steps, from your perspective, why are these particular steps so effective for busy people? What's the underlying principle that makes them work?
Well, what's really smart about this approach is how each step directly tackles a common barrier, especially for people with packed schedules.
Like what?
Okay, start small. That immediately tackles the I don't have time barrier.
Yeah.
Makes it feel doable, not another chore. Choose a quiet space, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Creates a mental boundary. It signals, okay, this is my time. Focus on the breath is brilliant because it's always there, no equipment needed. Guided meditations lower the how-to barrier, the intimidation factor, and consistency. That's just fundamental habit formation, building those neural pathways so mindfulness becomes eventually a more automatic response.
So it's really about lowering friction, making it as easy as possible to just start and then keep going.
Precisely. Removing the obstacles one by one.
Okay. So as someone like our listener starts putting these simple things into practice, what kind of maybe initial shifts or moments might they notice? What starts to change first?
That's a great question. Often one of the first things people notice is just how busy their mind actually is.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Right. You sit down to be quiet, and suddenly you realize your thoughts are just constantly racing, jumping from this to that. It's like, wow, is it always like this?
So like an awareness of the baseline chaos.
Exactly. Or you might become more aware of, say, subtle physical signs of stress, maybe tension in your shoulders or shallow breathing, things you hadn't really registered before.
Okay.
And these moments of recognition, even if they feel a bit like, oh, wow, I'm really stressed or my mind is frantic, they're actually super valuable.
Why is that?
Because they highlight why you wanted to try this in the first place. They validate the need for it. And then you might also have these little moments of genuine calm.
The positive side.
Yeah, like you take a minute to focus on your breath during a crazy day and you actually feel a little more grounded afterward, a small win, but it shows you it can make a difference.
It's like you're starting to tune into a different station almost, noticing things you weren't noticing before.
That's a good way to put it, tuning in.
The article itself does a really nice job of making this all feel very accessible, very down to earth.
It really does. It avoids all the, complex jargon or any kind of mystical vibe.
Yeah, no need for robes or anything.
No. It just focuses on practical, actionable advice for, well, normal, everyday life, which is exactly what someone with a full schedule needs, isn't it?
Totally. The last thing you need is more complexity.
The message is really clear. You don't have to become some kind of Zen master to get the benefits. Small, consistent effort. That's what counts.
Okay. So let's try and wrap this up for our listener. You came here looking for ways to weave meditation into your busy life. And this deep dive into the Times of India article really highlights those powerful whys:
Hmm.
less stress, sharper focus, that greater sense of well-being, better sleep, and stronger emotional resilience.
And then the how, the practical starting points. Begin small, just a few minutes. Find or create a little quiet space. Anchor yourself with your breath. Maybe try guided meditations to help you along. And above all, aim for consistency. Make it regular.
The article finishes by sort of encouraging everyone to make mindfulness a priority, suggesting we embark on this journey to mindful living, which sounds nice, but maybe a little
It
daunting.
could sound that way, yeah.
So, maybe a final thought for you listening right now. Forget the big journey for a second. Just think about this. What's one tiny moment in your day, maybe just 60 seconds, waiting for the kettle, sitting at a red light?
Hmm.
Where could you just press pause and simply notice your breath just for a minute or two? What might that one small act unlock for you? It's maybe less about embarking on a huge journey and more about just taking that first tiny step, see what happens.
Yep, just a little experiment. An invitation to explore what even the briefest pause can offer.